everyone, Mr. Simon Show back with another Crossout video. Today's the final day of the dev blog for next season. I've got all three open right here. And what I'm going to do today is I'm going to go through each part of the dev blogs. First one is open already. You can already see one of the new weapons. This came out 30th of January. Now, I mentioned this in part 2 of this in last week's Crossout Weekly video. This isn't a Crossout Weekly video because I've already done it this week though. But I mentioned that there's going to be a new van, which is true. In the first part, we got the cab showcased. In the second part, we got the side panels and the front released. And then today, in the third part, we got the rear part released, as well as some new wheel arches, which aren't part of the van part set. Although the van rear and the wheel arches have been seen before in a video the devs showcased new weapons in. But let's not waste any time and just get right into the first part of this dev blog. So as you know, yep, forced measure is coming to an end soon. We've got less than a week to complete the pass. If you haven't completed the pass already, I'd strongly recommend doing all of your challenges now, because the last batch of them has come out. This season was about lunatics and engineers, but now next season is about the lunatics and the fire starters. Now I'm gonna go over the structure parts, the weapons, and some of the changes, like balance changes in this video, because I know not every Crossout player is an art builder like myself. So I'm just going to go through it in the order that they showcase the things from, like first, cabin. I'm going to go for the cabin first. So let's just not waste any time. This is the new fire starters cabin. It's a medium, as it says right here. Now this is the cabin for the van's part set. I don't know which van it is, but all I know is that it looks incredible. It's 6 pins wide and 5 pins tall, and the space here is big enough to either fit a Maxwell, carjack, or anything else of the same size. Now, the cabin passively increases reload speed and cooldown rate of weapons, quite similar to some other cabs I can't really remember the name of. And it also has 10 charges as damage is dealt with any weapon, so like Catalina and Dolores. And when the perk is activated, reload and cooldown rates further increase for each accumulated charge in a certain period of time. And the best thing is that the accumulated charges are not spent. Oh, that's awesome. So it's like a Dolores but on steroids. You love to see it. And now it's the new melee weapon. This shoots off this thing here, so it looks like some dumbbells. Shoots it out, and then, you know, you shoot at enemies, and then it grinds away at them, I think. Inflicts... Okay, and you can use it as a battering ram, so it inflicts ram damage upon impact. So like a buzzsaw or a borer. Again, yeah, like I just said, it can be used at range. Oh wait, that's not the part it says. Where's the part where it says? So it definitely can be used as a buzzsaw. Well, I also saw in one of the videos they released, I think the first video they showcased was this part actually launching this. I think like a Ripper, you know, the weapon that shoots saws out, I think is a relic Firestarter's weapon. I'm pretty sure it works like that as well. It's some new frames. Not very interesting. You've got a what looks like a 3x6 pin in frame, 3x4 pin, heavy versions of course, and then these weird ones that look to be 8 pins long with a 4 pin long section in the center. Bit strange, these ones, but these two here are quite nice. Again, here's the heavy parts. I love this cab. This cab is amazing. I'm super glad we're getting another van. I don't think we've had a van since, well, Docker and WWT1 came out, which I'm pretty sure they've always been in the game. You can see here that it is low clearance compatible. There is a 1 pin high space as a wheel arch right there, which is very handy. You love to see that. Always love when they add low clearance compatible cabs. Now that is part 1 complete. Let's get on to part 2. So this is the weapon they showcased in the second video, where the wheel arches and the van rear got showcased. And it is a legendary rocket launcher, and it looks quite similar to that Ravager's one. This one, what does it do? Rapid. It is the first rapid fire artillery, huh? Continuous stream of rockets, so very similar to that Ravager's one. It fires fast projectiles that fly on a plunging trajectory. Works the perk after 4 hits on an enemy from a distance with it of at least 30 meters. Rocket launcher fires amplified incendiary projectile. If it doesn't hit an enemy, a puddle of fire appears at the point of explosion. So again, like the Ravager's gun, but on steroids. I can already tell that a lot of players are going to hate this season because of how crazy these parts are. And the puddle of fire, as usual, will damage targets and heat them up if they go inside of it. And if the special projectile hits an enemy, it heats up their parts, which is very cool. Next, you got this very weird looking legendary engine. It looks to be 4 pins wide and 4 pins long, and maybe 4 pins tall. But the middle here is 2 pins wide with some 1 pin wide shelves on either side. What does it do? While maintaining a certain percentage of armored car's maximum speed for several seconds, the engine accumulates a bonus. This sounds like cheater. When any module or autonomous weapon is activated, with the exception of sentry drones, this bonus significantly reduces their reload time. Ah, so it is like cheater, but for not drones. It also reduces how much that module can be used almost twice in a row. So bonus works on the first activated module or on autonomous weapon, or when activated on a single weapon group. Huh. Now here's the front part of the van. This part will be 6 pins wide and will have a 1 pin wide gap. So even if you did put it against the cab, you could also put a dun horse back there. So just by the cab itself, you could have a cheater, not a cheater. You could have a hardcore, you could have a carjack, you could have a Maxwell. But with the front included, you could at least have an Empire or a dun horse in there. And like some other parts that are in the game, which released not last Halloween, but the Halloween before, the front grille will light up with flames with the headlights, which is incredibly awesome. I love that. And also you can see here on each side that the wheel arch continues to the front, as well as the, I guess, risen up bonnet. And if you look close enough, you can definitely see how these two amazing parts will link together. Incredibly good. And now these are the side panels. These will be what I'm guessing 4 pins long, at least 4 pins high, because you can see a 3-pin tall gap, and then 3 pins wide, both combined next to each other, meaning 6 pins wide, just like the cab. And you can also see these bars here. It's, I guess, cage, I guess, stabbed through the roof. Also links up to the same cage that's been stabbed through the roof on the actual cabin itself, which is very nice. Now, here's a little bit of rough estimation. The fire will light the way, which hopefully means also with its glow that the fire part, the headlight, will hopefully glow like a neon part, like the Syndicate neon parts, or like the Raven's Eye headlights. That would be amazing, because if you don't know already, Crossout players have been waiting for functional headlights for ages. I think since, you know, the game's initial release, people have been wanting functional headlight beams for years and years. Let's go on to the final part, part 3. This part came out today, and here's one of the new weapons. It's a Lunatic's weapon. Again, this is a Lunatics and Firestarters season. It's a legendary disc launcher, so just like the Ripper, but not a relic. And it says people like playing rogues, applying bleeding or poison effects, and that it works similarly to such things. The disc attaches to the enemy and slowly cuts through their parts, so like a Ripper, but this actually does periodic damage upon contact. I don't know if the Ripper does that already. I know that if you shoot the floor and your enemy drives into the blades, they will get impact damage, but I'm pretty sure the Ripper does not do periodic damage upon contact. When contact with the parts is lost or the disc's active time ends, the projectile explodes, which I know Ripper doesn't do that. It just kind of pops and disappears. The force of the explosion depends on the amount of periodic damage inflicted. Basically, that it means if you fail to cut through a bunch of parts, mostly structure parts, a relatively strong explosion will happen to compensate for not doing much damage. But if you manage to cut the enemy to pieces, meaning do a lot of damage and destroy a ton of parts, and everything is fine, you won't need the explosion, so it just won't explode. It's important that it doesn't penetrate weapons, movement parts, or the cab, and the enemy's allies can shoot down the disc at any time. So just like the Ripper, but again, slightly better, if I remember correctly. The perk, it also has a perk. As it deals periodic damage, the disc launcher accumulates up to 5 charges. Each charge increases the periodic damage of the next disc, which is insane. So if you shoot one disc and then do a ton of damage, your next disc will have higher damage, I'm guessing. And the rate which the charges accumulate depend on the number of parts in contact with the disc and the penetration speed of the projectile. So if your first disc destroys a load of stuff, your next disc will have a ton of damage. That's amazing. What is my game doing? I got kicked for being idle, did I? Not to worry. To be honest, they didn't expect Lunatics to create something so complex. Huh. Now this part, I think it's not the first Lunatics track, because we got the small tracks. I'm thinking this is the second Lunatics track, if I remember correctly. Now, when I first saw this, I thought this was going to have a similar perk to the Ravager's Wheel, because this does look a lot like the Ravager's Wheel. And speaking of the small tracks, you can see here that it uses multiple regular car wheels. So just think like the low clearance wheels, but you know, of varying sizes. These would have been off of just regular cars made before the events of Crossout. But the big wheel here at the front actually goes in front of these ones. So this will go on the front of your build, like a harvester. So as you can see from the image above, it has a big front roller. It's like a steamroller with a bunch of blades in it, which obviously you can see that. And oh, I mean, come on. Have you guessed what it's for yet? The new track is perfect for smashing into the enemies at high speed. If you reach 45 kilometers an hour, the big front roller starts dealing damage when it hits an enemy. So basically, like small tracks, but again, like everything else, on steroids. This damage increases as you gather speed, up to 90 kilometers an hour. Or up to 90 kilometers an hour, which is when it stops increasing in damage. So just speed up and smash into the enemy. So I'm guessing this would go extremely well with the aggressor cab, which if you guys don't know already, if you do not steer and just go into a straight line, you increase more and more damage for any weapon that you have, I'm pretty sure. In fact, we can check that right now if I just log back in. Sure, it's taking its time. There we go. So I've got aggressor here. I might as well just unlock my blueprint, get rid of that, and then open its parameters. So yes, the new tracks should work incredibly well with this cabin. Now this cabin has been quite notorious for being not so strong because it doesn't have the highest durability and its perk is kind of meh. It's just basically a weaker version of the DUBBY. But again, if you go in a straight line, then you get a ton more damage set by every 25 meters. It receives a charge that increases the damage of all weapons by 70% and stacks up to 3 times. So that's up to that is up to 21 extra damage percent when moving in a straight line, which for these tracks is pretty perfect. Now it doesn't state what the speed limit for these tracks are, which kind of sucks, but aggressor goes 106, used to go 105 when it released, then down to 100, and now 106 again, which is amazing. So this cab will be perfect for such movement parts like this. And they're both Lunatics themed. They're both made by the Lunatics, which just fits even better. But now to finish off the dev blogs, let's take a look at the final structure parts. Now this is the van rear, which again, like the cab, is 5 pins wide. 5 pins tall and 6 pins wide. And let me tell you guys, this rear looks insanely nice. I love these mini tail fins here. Again, it sucks that we can't quite tell what van this is yet. But because the van itself is 5 pins tall and the side panels are 4 pins tall, that means underneath the rear parts, you'll be able to have low clearance wheels, just like under the front of the cab and the front bumper part. Again, you got the inside here, and you got the outside here. This nice beefy looking bumper at the bottom. A big door similar to the van rear that got released this season, which unfortunately doesn't have a cab. But you can see just above the tail fins, it's got this nice curve, which goes along the rear and all the way to the front, and then links up to the bonnet. It's a very nice bit of design. And then finally, the final structure part of this season is these nice wheel arches. I'm pretty sure these won't go with the part set because they're just so big. But these are really, really nice. If you guys remember from the Syndicate season, they had a few structure parts similar to these. Let me just go down to them. Ah yes, the co-hire parts. You can already tell the Firestarters have just made their own more retro looking version of the co-hires. And unfortunately, unlike the co-hires, they do not have a Sonette to match them, which is a bit unfortunate. But again, these parts are just really, really nice, and I'll happily take a whole van part set. Actually, I just take a whole part set, even if it means, you know, maybe one alternating part doesn't get much, you know, attention. But the fact that this is not just any part set and instead is a van is, oh my god, it is incredible. Absolutely incredible. Again, here's the side parts, here's the front part. I don't know how many of these we'll have. I'm guessing we're going to have at least either 1 or 2, most likely 2. And I'm hoping we'll get maybe 4 of these side panel parts, which would be amazing. If we get 4 side panel parts, I'm going to be so happy. But don't expect to get more than 2. Because the off-roader parts, we only got 2 of those side panels years and years ago when Holy Motors was a thing. And it kind of was a big disappointment. So don't get your hopes too high, even though this is a great opportunity. Only expect to get 2 of these side panels, though pray we get 4, so we can have an extra long van. And that is going to be it for today's video. I've gone through everything, I'm pretty sure. Ah yes, I need to go through the balance changes. So Core X, starting with Core X. Total damage, cannot speak. The total amount of fragments reduced to by 25%. Damage is now reduced faster as you move away from the center of the explosion. It is now 60% at the border of radius instead of 8% before. So Core X is getting a nerf. I know a lot of people have been wanting it to get nerfed. The Breaker, the Relic Shotgun, the perk charges after 0.8 seconds instead of 0.6 seconds. The bonus damage from the perk is reduced by 17%, so another nerf. The range of the shots with the active perk is increased by 60% instead of 75. It's a bit weird. Comments said that firing weapons additional firing modes began to significantly stand out in ranked modes. So they wanted to reduce the efficiency outside of the scheduled balance changes. Huh. Bit odd. Oh, and that's it. The next update coming in March. I have new content that's never been seen. Ooh. Ooh, that's really nice. Again, this blog entry includes the series of publications about the new season, and you'll be able to learn more about all the rewards and features of the season from their live stream next week. So yeah, that is a good reminder. They will be live streaming, the developers will be live streaming before the season releases, as per usual. I'm pretty sure they usually do it on Wednesdays, the Wednesday before the update, because every update always releases on a Thursday. And again, next update coming in, the next update, meaning the one after this season, coming in March, I have new content, which is super exciting. Again, maybe we'll get headlight beams. Headlight beams, guys. Pray we get headlight beams. Fingers crossed. But that is going to be it for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you for so much for 200 subscribers. Still super stoked about that. And of course, thank you to DUBBY for continuing to partner with me. They've got tons of cool flavors, really nice stuff. And don't forget to use code PROTOBEE in their shop to save 10% off your order and to help out my channel, so I can continue doing videos such as these. That is PROTOBEE in their shop to save 10% off your order and to help out my channel. Thank you guys so much for watching. And if you liked the video, feel free to give a big fat thumbs up. And if you really like the video, feel free to subscribe. It'll mean a huge lot to me. And it's free, and you can change your mind at any time. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.